But everyone's asking, dude, that's a cool raft. That has pineapple pools on. Like, is that whatever? You have the phone number on it or something. And there's your marketing. There's increasing your lifetime value, because everyone's happy with a pool until it goes bad, right? Until something breaks, or like someone else knocks on the door and they offer them a couple bucks off. But if you have great communication, which is lacking in the industry, you provide value to where you have those constant contacts. Because with the pool company, that's different than pests, is we knock on the front door and we talk to you. We try and get in on the inside for this very reason. With pools, you have permission to just open up the back gate, do your thing, and then leave. You never have contact with the customer. And I think that's a huge mistake in the industry.
Welcome to the Premium Mindset, the weekly podcast where homegrown entrepreneurs and business owners, Evan Ritchey and Cameron Bawden, share the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern entrepreneurship and reveal what really happens behind the scenes of their personal and professional lives. As owners of two of America's fastest growing and most disruptive companies, Coconut Cleaning and Green Mango Pest Control. Stay tuned for real stories, struggles, insight, and advice from real entrepreneurs in real time.
What's going on? Today we are answering your most common questions about business or starting a business. Now, collectively, Cameron and I have 21 years of being in and starting small businesses. And I'd say over the 21 years, we have done, quick math, over $100 million in reoccurring revenue.
Want to start my own thing. How do I start?
Man, if I was just asked that right off the street, I would say go with what you know or where your interest is. And so I just flip that question back. And so anyone that says, hey, just left a company, want to go start my own. Okay, if it is plumbing, it's like, all right, lay out the vision, the map. But I think what I'm learning more and more now than ever, the most important thing to just do your own thing is just to start doing it.
Yeah,
like
it's
just
the ready, fire, aim aspect.
Just start.
Go.
Okay. What is the biggest mistake you made with Green Mango that you would avoid if starting over?
Oh, the first, realistically, probably 2 years. It might have been 3. We ran our whole business off of a spreadsheet. And we probably didn't bill. I don't think it's like aggressive to say hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like literally just didn't bill them. So I would definitely go back and bill my customers if I did it again.
As you're telling the CRM company, we can't afford $1,000.
Yeah, we can't do that. But no, so that, and we didn't have. Well, when we started, they really didn't have a good CRM to do all your routing, all your billing, all your notes. So it was just a nightmare trying to keep track of everything. This is a tough one. How many office staff should be on staff in comparison to revenue?
That's a good question. I'll reframe it to say, what is the individual purpose of every position? Because office staff can go from secretary to customer service representative to inside sales. And so what I would say is that there might be a time in your business where an inside salesperson is also handling customer service calls, but get your numbers down, get a CRM, and get a phone software that allows you to track how many calls are coming in so that you can say, this many calls are coming in, this much is going out, these many things need to be scanned every day. One person can do this much, and then you have a duplicatable system once you know your metrics and your analytics. So I can't answer that directly other than know your analytics and duplicate as you scale.
Yeah, I mean, and it just depends on the business that you're in, right? A restoration company, I would assume, doesn't need as many CSRs as like a pest control company. And so that's the benefit of, like you're saying, you have one person and they're the sales manager, they're the office manager, they're the routing manager, they're everything. And then what you're saying is, like, as they grow and as okay, for every 100 customers, 10 call in, okay, of those 10 people, the average phone call is 4.5 minutes. Now you have data to know, okay, how many CSRs do I need? Well, for every 1,000 customers we get, we know that 100 are going to call in. 100, times 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes, and that's where the data comes in. you'll know how to scale. And that's what's been cool is as our CFO has modeled our stuff out, hey, for every 1,000 new customers, these are all the waterfall things that are going to happen. Whether it's new truck, new technician, new router, new manager, because we just broke the rule of 7, like it's broken down perfectly. And so when you're starting out, it's no different than when you're at scale, knowing how much, as you grow, how much it's needed. But that's why it's so important to wear every single hat in the business, because when you're starting out, if a CSR takes 9 minutes on a phone call and you don't know, it's like, yeah, she's doing a great job. She's, driving with the customer, but you could have taken 4.5. Well, as you scale, you could have had half the amount of people in that department than you really needed, just because you were going off of bad data. And that's why it's so important for you as the leader to always step in once in a while and set the tone for what's possible in that department.
Yeah. And if you do this right out the gate, what I'd say, you won't have to do what we did at Coconut, which was not pay attention to those numbers, higher and higher and higher based off of feeling. And then when somebody left, we would hire again because somebody left. So naturally we need to replace them. And then all of a sudden I'm watching our profits go gone and gone and gone. And then we just had to do, I think in total it was around 17 people being let go. And while that's a hard decision, that's not how we do business. And every person that was let go, I personally let them go to let them know that this round, this letting go was on me. And one of the messages, like when they asked or would pry a little bit more, I just said, I didn't pay attention to our numbers. And we reduced the office staff by 5, and now we have 2 people. And those same 2 people are doing what 7 people were. And they make more money now because they're sticking around doing the proper amount of work.
Because we looked outside the box and said, hey, there's got to be a different way to achieve the end goal, just in a different way. And part of that was letting go some people. I love this one because I think this is a very valid question, and it's very nerve-wracking as you're doing it. But it's, when should you self-fund growth versus taking outside investors? But with that said, if I was you, if you want to sleep a little bit better at night, I would make sure that you have your systems and processes in order before you go out and take someone's capital. It's very nerve-wracking to take on some money from investors. Well, and that's even if you feel like you have things under control, let alone if the model's new. When I first took on money from my dad, we didn't have our things together, but it was like, hey, we want to grow. And luckily my dad wasn't like most investors where, monthly reports, maybe it would have been nice if he was, because we probably would have known our numbers better, but there was never that like downward pressure of quarterly meetings with investors and reporting. But that pressure knowing like, man, we just spent 60 grand like that on commission. Where's it all at? We didn't bill our customers. Our routes we're doing 9 stops a day instead of 15, like all the things that we know now. It was just very, very hard. Yeah. But when we started Coconut, before we even rolled a truck, we, got our first investment of 75 grand before we even rolled the truck. And that's because we felt like we had those systems and processes, and we've learned, we just changed a process 6 years in. So it's not saying like you don't have to be 100% complete, but just know there's added pressure when you take on money. If you think it's difficult to just start your own business, like that's one thing of pressure. Then you take on outside money. It's a whole nother level. So just be ready for that and try and have your systems down as best as you can, but don't not get an investor because you're not perfect. You'll never be perfect.
Real quick tidbits on that from my perspective is when you take someone else's money, don't forget that a lot of people are willing to give money just based off a loan and not in exchange for equity. So if you said, hey, I need 100 grand and over the next 16 months, I'll pay you back 115,000. Some people are willing to sign up for that. So don't always just go for equity. But then also what I'd say is you can get really creative at how fast you collect your cash, which is what I'd say. I don't think you'd say it was a huge regret, I would have changed it, but you would have gone a different way billing customers had you seen the benefit in getting monthly billing. Is that
for
right?
Green Mango?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like you would have billed them on a monthly basis. Like if this was their month to be serviced, you would bill them at the beginning of the month, then fulfill, instead of fulfill and then bill.
Oh yeah. If I was starting over, I would just do straight monthly billing. whether you're going out there that month or not. It's so much easier on cash flow, so much easier on those times where there's 3 pay periods in a month, where you don't work a full 4 weeks, like Christmas and New Year's. That just kills a business, right? Because it's pretty much depending on the year, but most of the time it falls within the same pay period. And, that's hard on the employee and the employer. Yeah. But if you're billing your customers, there's no problem.
Yeah. So sometimes you may not have a cash flow issue. You might have a system issue, and reevaluate how quickly you're collecting your cash and reducing your accounts receivable, and then assess if you need an investor or not.
I feel like this is a good one for you.
Oh boy.
Because you're gay. Best resources that have helped you grow. Books, podcasts, etc.
Okay. Three responses. I would say it's having my own standards first of who I want to become, so that as I'm evaluating my life on a weekly, monthly basis, I can see how far off I am from being the husband, father, business /owner, friend that I am. So first, I'd say have your own personal standards for growth. Second, mentor / be in rooms with people that are at where you want to go. And I would say you were that for me. I don't think you would have said you were that for me in 2017. I don't know how well you were doing then, but it still was. I was in a room with someone who had higher ambition and and had a system that was dang near ready to just blow up massively. And so I thought it was so cool being at the little celebration for you. I even texted you after, and I don't mean to throw this out there, but it's more a sign of how you've lived this principle. But Alyssa threw a surprise, kind of celebration of the cell and everything. And what was cool for me was to see all the people that you would attribute in small ways or in other ways helped you get there. But I texted you after and I said, hey man, I was looking around. I would say 95% of everyone that was there was a multimillionaire in assets owned or whatever. And some of my favorite people on the planet too, by the way. And so proximity is power, and who you associate with is where you're going to go. And so be in rooms with people smarter. If you can partner with someone more ambitious than you, do it, because I don't think I'd have anything remotely close to what I do if I didn't have you in one in the beginning and just throughout, like every little process. And then third, what I'd say is, and I'm steering away from this. This is big for me. I saw a post of somebody that was telling this influencer, no, it happened with Keaton Hoskins. And I'm like remembering different things, okay? So just so everyone remembers on my rant, this is the question of 3 things that help me grow and learn the fastest. And somebody in the audience said, hey, Keaton Hoskins, The Muscle, Limitless Society, what books do you recommend? He said, bro, like no diss on books, but I will do 50 things and experiment with 50 things while you go read a book. Mm-hmm. He said, maybe it's just because I'm dumb or I can't read. He said, but I will go test out 5 small businesses, get in the room with people who are doing other things while you're reading your book. Mm-hmm. And so reading has got me here, but I will say in the last 6 months, I haven't read anything that has been like, that's it. Mm-hmm. And so what I'll say now more than ever in what is building a foundation for me to grow exponentially is just rapid doing. Like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to DM people. It's never been a comfortable thing for me. But I told Kate on Sunday, I'm like, I'm going to DM everyone that DM me. And then I did it, and then people DM back. And I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this. And I have a few lunches and appointments with people that I look forward to meeting now. And so doing the thing more than ever has become more important to learning. What about you?
Just on that note, it's interesting as you say that, like, Tommy travels around, and I think he tries to do a shop tour once a month.
That's wild.
And
what's a shop tour, just for people?
Yeah, so shop tours is just being in proximity of other great businesses. He'll find companies that he feels like are, as good, better, or maybe even worse than his. And he just wants to go in there and learn and just observe. And I'm sure he contributes to them more than they contribute to him, but he's learning something from everyone. And that's just being around, people that are up to things. And so I love that. This is an interesting one. And we just talked about it, but top 3 tips to increase LTV in pool service.
So Cameron, owning a pool company, what are the top 3 tips to increase LTV, lifetime value of a customer in the pool industry?
I feel like the biggest thing I'm glad you asked. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for asking.
I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication on the pools and education. And so if I was going to go back, I'd find a way to educate the customer on what's going on with their system and managing expectations better. Because what happens is during monsoon season, when it rains, or like when it storms, everyone's calling you out the next day. Well, you don't have the bandwidth to go take care of all your pools. Your pools are spread out throughout a week, but people don't understand that. But if you can let them know, hey, within monsoon season, here's some things that you can go out and do. You can pull, and start vacuuming and doing your own, pool to get it 80% there and swimmable. And then we'll be in there within 2 to 3 days to do what we do with the skimmer, with the the chemicals that we put in there, but just managing the expectations better. And then I would have looked for more ways to stay top of mind. And I was just thinking, it's like the Pineapple Pools brand was so cool. How cheap would it have been to get like pineapple pool rafts for people and give them away at the beginning of the summer?
I was like just thinking of this. Or sell pool covers for the winter that had pineapple pools, or
Yeah. So again, our budget at Green Mango is $15. Pools are a tighter margin, so maybe you had like 7. I just think you could go and get those, I'm not talking like a crazy raft, but people would keep them throughout the summer. Everyone always has friends over, and maybe you do I don't know, we'd have to play that. I was going to say like a promotion, but that might be cheesy. But everyone's asking, dude, that's a cool raft. That has pineapple pools on. Like, is that whatever? You have the phone number on it or something. And there's your marketing. There's increasing your lifetime value, because everyone's happy with a pool until it goes bad, right? Until something breaks. Or like someone else knocks on the door and they offer them a couple bucks off. But if you have great communication, which is lacking in the industry, you provide value to where you have those constant contacts. Because with the pool company, that's different than pests, is we knock on the front door and we talk to you. We try and get in on the inside for this very reason. With pools, you have permission to just open up the back gate, do your thing, and then leave. You never have contact with the customer. And I think that's a huge mistake in the industry. Yeah. So that's not 3 things, that's 2, but I think those 2 things could go a long ways.
Yeah, my pool guy, it's Saturday midday, Sunday morning. I just know when he's there when the dogs are barking. I'm like, oh, pool guy's here.
Yeah.
He's there, never met him.
So
never
you're not
talked
attached to him at all?
None.
But if he said hi to you every single, you see him name one other business that you get weekly contact with your customers. I don't know. I don't think there is.
No.
Maybe besides maybe a house cleaner.
Yeah.
He could have weekly contact with you, be developing a friendship, right? And you would never leave him. You're like, man, I love Johnny. He always says hi. He brings me a drink once in a while. I love that. I love that Instagram I reposted of Tommy talk. We talked about calling the customer before. Hey, I'm stopping at QT. What do you want? A Frappuccino, or I'm stopping at Starbucks. You want iced chai tea? I got you. What do you want? That's just so huge, man. What if your pool guy did that once a month? We're talking about a $3 drink. 1 out of 4 times that you visited your customer in pools and asked the customer, like, what do you want? You wouldn't be canceling. And then at the beginning of the summer, I gave you a couple pool balls